Chainsaw Man is one of those films that you should go into knowing as little as possible. The trailers all came out in Japanese. I have yet to see a dubbed trailer of this movie, so I didn't know who the villains were. I didn't know how far this story would go or what was going to be the focus of the movie. All I knew was that it was a Chainsaw Man property. It was going to be a full-length film. It was made specifically for a film. I don't think it comes from any of the manga stuff. And so going in, knowing just those things and knowing that we were going to get at some point some chaotic Chainsaw Man style action, I wanted to see it. And after seeing it, I'm quite pleased. When it comes to prerequisite information, like I said, know as little as possible about the movie upon going in. But it's also very important that you remember some of the key elements about season one before you go in, because they don't introduce a whole bunch of the side characters and explain where they come from in their backstory. You kind of have to know that stuff. But if you do know that stuff and you can come in and watch this movie, everything is new. Everything is introduced really well and put together really well. And it's a really complete, fulfilling, full vision of a story. I'm quite pleased with the movie, and I feel like it did a very good job with me not knowing who the villains and who the bad guys were going to be. The movie did a great job giving you visual cues as to who is doing what and why they were doing it. There are several clues and hints that are right in your face from the moment of certain characters being introduced. But if you're unassuming and you're not watching it like a detective, those things can go right over your head. And then the rewatchability factor comes in. I feel like is relatively high for this one, because you would kind of want to go back and see, did I miss this visual cue from the beginning? Was I so caught up with the introduction of certain characters that I didn't catch who this person was from the outset of their introduction? So with all that being said, I got to give a big thumbs up to the storytelling, but the story itself is actually kind of a rom-com for about 30, 40, 45 minutes of the movie. I was quite surprised by that. I didn't expect it to be so funny. I didn't expect it to be so kind of driven by romantic relationships. I thought that we would get like immediately to the Chainsaw Man style chaotic action, but it took a while to get there. And I'm still quite pleased with what they did in those first 40 to 45 minutes of the movie, setting you up quite well for everything that would come later. When the action does get started, it is everything that you would expect from a Chainsaw Man property. Our main character is out of his mind, and he is over the top with all the action that you see from him, and he gets destroyed just as he does in the anime. Like, he gets trashed throughout this movie, and it's kind of on brand for him, and our main character even acknowledges it in this movie. Like, I get beat up a lot. Yes, sir, you do. If I took a moment and went back to those side characters that I mentioned, I must say that the side characters in this movie do not shine as bright as I would like them to shine. Now, listen, that is not a true criticism of the movie, because I feel like the side characters did what they were called to do, but I do feel as though those characters are well-rounded enough, and I know enough about them that I kind of wanted to get a little more from them in the movie. But it's not bad that we didn't get that much from them. It focuses on the main character, as most films do. And talking about this movie as a standalone, I must say that I don't really have any complaints about this movie as it exists. I know a lot of people were saying things like this movie, the Chainsaw Man Reze arc, is better as a standalone film than the Demon Slayer movie, The Beginnings of the Infinity Castle. And I would have to agree. This one is a better self-contained standalone movie. And here's why I say that. If you saw Chainsaw Man Season 1 and you enjoyed it, you can come in and watch this movie without remembering every single detail from Season 1. But you can still go in, see the movie, and enjoy the movie. If you decide to skip this movie and come back around and watch Chainsaw Man Season 2, whenever that season drops, and that Season 2 makes the decision to skip everything that happens in the Reze arc movie, and they pick up right where Season 1 left off and they never address the events of Reze, they can do that, and you can do that. And it's not like you miss anything that totally changed the landscape of the series. Basically, I'm saying that this movie is not homework. And I'm saying that because on one hand, our main character will probably grow from the events of this movie, but not that much. And after the events of this movie, the landscape that existed in season 1 or at the end of season 1 of Chainsaw Man doesn't change so dramatically that you will feel like you missed something if you don't see this Reze movie. So let's get into the spoilers specifically for the movie here. If you haven't seen the movie, maybe you should scroll away. But if you have seen the movie, you can stay and participate in this portion of the conversation. And the same things that existed in season 1, you watch this movie or you don't watch this movie, those same things will exist in season 2. For instance, Denji is still going to be a lovesick pursuant of women, just super gullible and all into girls. Like, that is who he is, and that is probably not going to change a whole lot because of the events of this movie. It should change a significant amount after the events of this movie, but knowing that character, the way that character is written, I don't see it changing significantly. Denji's partner that was gonna die in season 1, like he got the news that, hey, you have an X amount of time to live. He still is ending up in the same situation with X amount of time to live, maybe just a little bit more. I think he lost 2 months over the course of making one action, which is crazy. But he lost 2 months of his life, but his life is still going to expire if all the rules of the show still exist. And so if you see this movie or don't see this movie, he's still going to eat it the same way he was going to eat it before. The character of Power is still Power. Everything about that character is the same. They added a small detail about that character, but it's a very minuscule detail. And if you took it out the movie would be the same. If you never address it again in the show will be the same. And so not much changes with Power. Ms. Makima was a dog in season 1, like was capable of doing things that were incredible. And she does some incredible things in this movie, or at least one thing toward the end. If you saw it, you know. But when you look at the dynamic of the show, Makima is still Makima. Like, not much is going to change about that character because of what happens in this movie. I enjoyed this movie a whole lot. I really actually liked the rom-com portion of the movie. It was unexpected. It was refreshing to see them do something slightly different from what most movies do or what a lot of animes do. Like, they're known for the insane action. They are known for the over-the-top antics. And we get to that. But at the same time, they gave you something very different with the first 40 minutes of this movie. And that was cool. And it also doesn't hurt that the Reze character and the Reze arc as a film, like the villain of that is the Bomb Devil. And the way that whole thing played out, she was capable of doing so much. And again, it's a movie. And so there's no need to drag things out. Like, they gave you nonstop action for what felt like 30 straight minutes, the back half of this movie. And so I was pleased the way things played out. I thought that they set things up quite well, and Denji was quite honestly and earnestly and understandably fooled by Reze. And then she turns into the Bomb Devil and she's going after him, and you get some of the best action scene that you'll see in the Chainsaw Man franchise. I think the best thing that we can say about this is the fact that they get a complete story, the introduction of a character, the bonding that you would expect with the character to fool another character. Then you get the crescendo of the action and the conflict and all those things that happen. And then you get a resolution to that. And even with a resolution to that, all the power dynamics and all the things that existed in the show go right back to where they were at the beginning of the movie. And so you can skip this movie and just go straight to season 2, or if they decide to like re-release it in episode form and call that the beginning of season 2, but like add stuff and make it longer or whatever, that's cool to do too. Or they could just skip it, never come back to it, and it's not like you missed anything significant. I love it. I love the way that flows. And so let me know your thoughts about any of that stuff in the comment section. I thought that the movie was really good. I think I gave it a 7.2 out of 10. Very, very enjoyable. Let me know your thoughts if you have any in the comment section. And that's all we have for this one, y'all. Enjoy yourself, guard your heart, and go watch something good.